Hello everyone, I'm Sebastian, and today I want to talk to you about Halifax, a beautiful city in the Atlantic coast of Canada that I visited in March this year. It was a trip full of interesting places to discover. If you are thinking of visiting Halifax or you just want to know a little bit more about this beautiful city, stay tuned. Let's jump right in. Let's start with the hotel. Here I share my impressions, and I leave more information in the comments. So let's see what it's like. The room is nice, simple, with an interesting painting related to the sea and the harbor. Let's check the view from the hotel. It's on the 4th floor. Okay, here's the TV. Another painting, the bed is big, and here's the bathroom. Pretty nice. The price of the hotel was also really good, so it seems like a solid option. We began our trip at the Halifax Citadel National Historic Site, a place that overlooks the whole city. Right in front, you'll see the Scotiabank Centre, a modern arena where major concerts and sporting events are held. In the same historic area, you'll also find the Garrison Clock, one of the oldest symbols of the city. It was installed in 1803 as a gift from Prince Edward to help citizens organize their daily lives better. Then we headed up toward the Halifax Citadel, a star-shaped fortress built in 1856 by the British to defend the harbor. From here you get some of the best panoramic views of the city. Admission was free when we went, although it can change depending on the time of the year. Once inside, you enter a huge open space with a 360-degree view that makes you feel like you've stepped back in time. It's a perfect spot for photos. Here, the silence of the fort is only interrupted by the echoes of history in the air. Inside, you can explore the Army Museum and discover the region's military history through exhibits showcasing the regiments that once served here. One of the most striking moments is the noon cannon firing, a tradition kept since the 19th century. Every day at 12 o'clock sharp, a cannon is fired. Originally, it was used as a signal for ships and townspeople, but today it's a historical show and one of Halifax's best known traditions. Here you can see the exact moment of the cannon blast. The sound isn't just heard, it's felt. Truly impressive. It shakes the air and connects you directly to history. After the cannon blast, we continued exploring the fort and stopped to look at the many cannons on display at the Halifax Citadel. These aren't just decorative pieces. Many are original 19th century artillery used by the British to protect the harbor and the city. As we left the Citadel, we came across a lookout point offering one of the best views of Halifax. From here, you can see the harbor, downtown, and much of the city stretching toward the horizon. We started heading down toward the vibrant waterfront that runs along the Atlantic Ocean. But before getting there, we made a must stop at Grand Parade Square, the historic heart of Halifax. This isn't just a park, it's the city's oldest public square, used for military ceremonies and events for over 250 years. Right in the center stands the Solemn Peace Officers Memorial. But there's more. On one side is the impressive Victorian-style City Hall, and on the other, the historic St. Paul's Anglican Church. From here, the walk continues downhill toward the waterfront, where you finally begin to see the waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Once at the waterfront, we explored Cable Wharf, a historic pier once central to Halifax's maritime trade and now a lively spot with restaurants, local shops, and stunning harbor views, perfect for a stroll and soaking in the city's coastal charm. By noon, we were hungry, so we went to a highly recommended restaurant on Halifax's waterfront, Drift. At that time, the menu was brunch, and we were pleasantly surprised by the originality of the dishes. We tried a Nova Scotia lobster croissant, filled with fresh local lobster, one of the region's most famous ingredients and a true culinary star. It was our first time trying it and it was amazing. We also ordered the fried fondue burger, a unique combination of juicy beef with a crispy on the outside, melted on the other side layer of fondue. A flavor explosion perfect to recharge before continuing our tour. The restaurant stands out not only for its food but also for its ambience, modern with elegant coastal-inspired decor, big windows that let in natural light, and a prime location by the sea. 100% recommended. After eating, we walked to the Tidal Beacon, an art installation by Kahn, an American artist known for works that interact with nature. This piece reflects the movement of the sea and the tides. From this spot, you also get stunning views of the harbor and ocean, perfect for pausing, relaxing, and taking in the maritime landscape that defines the city. As we continued, we saw a sculpture called Sail by Italian artist Edoardo Tresoldi, made of wire mesh. It plays with light and represents a sailboat, a symbol of Halifax's maritime tradition. Next, we visited the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, one of Halifax's most iconic museums, and a must to understand the city's deep ties to the ocean. We were surprised to learn about the role pirates played in the region. Yes, Halifax was once a hub of pirate activity, adding an unexpected twist to its history. The museum is full of fascinating pieces. One of the most curious was an interactive mirror that plays with visitor perception, a fun and different experience. There's also an impressive collection of ship models, from warships to merchant vessels, showing centuries of naval engineering. But the most moving part was the Titanic exhibit. A striking fact: Halifax was one of the closest ports to where the tragedy happened in 1912, and it played a key role in recovery efforts. Bodies were brought and buried here, and many personal belongings were retrieved from the sea. The exhibit includes original items from the ship, such as pieces of tableware, documents, and even a deck chair. There's also a detailed explanation of the sinking, with maps, testimonies, and recreations that help you feel the scale of the disaster. It's a deeply emotional experience, linking global history with Halifax's local memory. After all that history, it was time for something sweet. Cows, a Canadian ice cream shop famous for its creamy flavors and fan cow-themed merchandise. They offer unique flavors and rich, dense ice cream. Continuing along the waterfront, we came across the Wave, a bronze sculpture created in 1988 by artist Donna Hibbert. Although designed as public art, it became a playful photo spot. Kids climb it, tourists pose, and locals see it as part of everyday Halifax's life. From the waterfront, you can also see the other side of the city, with several sculptures adding an artistic touch to the walk. One of them is in front of the popular restaurant The Bicycle Thief, known not only for its Italian food but also for the sculpture that has become a must for photos. A little further along, we saw The Way Things Are, an abstract 2004 sculpture that some interpret as water in motion and others as the energy of the city. We then stopped at Sea Smoke Restaurant and Bar, a charming spot by Halifax Harbor. We wanted to rest a bit and try their famous oysters, known for freshness and flavor. The restaurant also serves a variety of local seafood dishes that reflect the region's cuisine. Later, for dinner, we chose the Five Fishermen, one of Halifax's most iconic restaurants. Located in a historic building dating back to 1817, it's known not only for its excellent seafood, but also for its elegant, cozy atmosphere. Some even say it's haunted, adding a curious twist to the experience. We ordered fresh Atlantic lobster and perfectly seared salmon. The lobster came with melted butter and was cooked just right, while the salmon was tender with a smoky flavor, highlighting local ingredients. You can see how much we enjoyed every bite, a mix of history, taste, and atmosphere in the heart of the city. The next day was cloudy and grey, but that didn't take away from our visit to the Halifax Public Gardens. Since it was late winter, many trees were bare, but the massive trunks and branches still made the place feel majestic. Among the trees, we spotted some crows, giving life to the quiet setting. The gardens feature several ponds, some still frozen, others already thawed, reflecting the peaceful surroundings. What stood out to us were the benches, many donated by families or individuals, each with a commemorative plaque, adding a personal and historical touch. We also noticed new plants already set in place for spring, and carefully trimmed pine trees shaped almost like living sculptures. The gardens are a perfect example of how Halifax blends history, nature, and culture. After the gardens, we kept walking through the city and found something curious. On several streets, there are sculptures of iconic Canadian animals like the famous moose. Continuing on, we passed St. Mary's Cathedral, one of Halifax's most important Catholic churches, with striking neo-Gothic architecture that stands out among modern buildings. Right across is the Old Burying Ground, the city's oldest cemetery, dating back to 1749, where soldiers, settlers, and historic figures are buried. In front of the cemetery stands Government House, the official residence of Nova Scotia's Lieutenant Governor. With over 200 years of history, it still serves its official role today. We then returned to the waterfront, this time with a more grey and moody sky, but still full of beauty and character. Along the way, we saw the Emigrant statue, honoring the thousands who arrived in Halifax by sea in search of a new life, and later the Volunteer Women's statue, a tribute to those who supported soldiers and communities during the World Wars. Further along is the statue of Samuel Cunard, the founder of the famous Cunard line of ships. Halifax was his hometown, and his maritime legacy still lives on in the harbor. Just a short walk away is the Halifax Seaport, a lively area by the sea. First, the Garrison Brewery, a craft brewery in a former naval warehouse known for its local flavors. Right next door is the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21, often called Canada's Ellis Island. Over 1 million people arrived here seeking a new life. In front of the museum is an original train car, symbolizing the journeys many immigrants continued after landing. Nearby, we saw the statue of Ruth Goldbloom, honoring the woman who spearheaded the creation of the museum and left a lasting mark on the community. Finally, we arrive at the Seaport Farmers Market. This isn't just any market, it's the oldest continuously operating farmers market in North America, founded in 1750, just a year after Halifax was established. Here, you'll find fresh local products, beautiful crafts, and it's the perfect place to rest and grab a tasty snack. We also visited one of the most moving places in the city, the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21. This was the gateway for over 1 million immigrants between 1928 and 1971. History lives here. Original suitcases, letters from people who left everything behind to start over in Canada. The museum doesn't just inform, it moves you. Through photos, testimonies, and real objects, it shows the challenge thousands of families face in building a new life. It's a tribute to human resilience. At the exit, there's an interactive section where you can leave your mark. Write your name and country of origin on a giant map. John and I, of course, placed our pin on Colombia. It felt symbolic, like saying, we are here too, part of this history. To wrap up our Halifax trip, we had lunch at the Bicycle Thief, a true local icon. Its industrial chic style mixes elegance with unique details. If you look up the ceiling, you'll see bicycle wheels as part of the decor, a creative nod to its name. From the big windows, you get stunning views of the bay and the lively waterfront, making the experience even more special. We ordered pork ribs so tender they fell apart on their own, and a shrimp pasta with a creamy citrusy touch we loved. And that's how our Halifax journey ends, a coastal city that surprises with its mix of history, nature, and great food. From its Atlantic views to its seaside restaurants, every corner has something special. It's the perfect destination if you're looking for culture, flavor, and tranquility all in one place. Without a doubt, Halifax deserves a spot on your travel list.